Raising Kanan Season 4 Episode 8. Marvin was told by Stefano that Jersey wants to blow this whole thing up, and that all they needed was Rock to light the fuse. However, it's possible that both Marvin and Rock made the mistakes that set this off because Stefano asked Marvin two main questions during the same conversation. The first was whether he knew who had killed Quan, and the second was whether Marvin had heard anything concerning the maid Tyler killed early on in Howard Beach. Naturally, Marvin was forced to tell Stefano lies about these two circumstances. The Quan kill appeared to be a robbery thanks to Marvin. Marvin was compelled to lie to Stefano about two things. First, whether he knew who killed Quan, and second, whether he had heard anything about the maid Tyler killed early on in Howard Beach. Marvin made the Quan kill seem like a robbery. Therefore, all it would take for the Thomas family to lose it would be for one of these circumstances to resurface. Furthermore, Stefano has already discussed replacing Rock with Marvin. Marvin informed Stefano that his sister had already taken that position, despite his rejection of the offer. However, there is someone who wants that job even though Marvin doesn't. Distinct. Additionally, in Episode 8, Unique looked to Pop Henry and Snaps for support. Being aware of their close relationship with Stefano, he discussed with Snaps and Pop the possibility of them mediating a settlement between Stefano and Phil Russo. Given that Stefano is the boss of Queensboro for the Italian Mafia, it would appear from the tone of that conversation that Unique is attempting to negotiate a deal with him to replace Rock. Thus, Stefano was adamantly opposed to Rock conducting business in his domain. Before Unique worked out that arrangement, he could cause her problems, just like S and Jersey did in Season 2. Next, the trailer for Episode 9 depicts Rock and Stefano meeting in private, without Marvin, who is typically present when Rock meets with Stefano. Rock tells Stefano in the teaser that she is loyal to her family, and he is loyal to his. Rock seems to be discussing Stefano's allegiance to his Italian Mafia family in relation to the made man who was killed in Howard Beach, most likely after learning that Early Tyler was responsible for the murder. Additionally, Early Tyler will vouch for Marvin's approval if they speak with him. Rock seems to be in a similar situation to the one she was in Season 2, when S effectively forced her to choose between going to war and Marvin, costing her her entire operation. This seems to be the same problem she encounters in Episode 9. The situation will be made worse by Stefano lying to Rock about Marvin, claiming that Marvin discussed replacing her with him. Given that Marvin never disclosed that conversation to Rock, Rock will ultimately prioritize family over business, which will force her out of Queen's drug trade. Regardless of whether Rock decides to save Marvin, I believe she will be done with him concurrently with Stefano's deception that Marvin wanted to replace her and Marvin's covert business dealings with Stefano. She will inform Marvin that she no longer has faith in him, not to mention all the errors he has committed. It was mentioned in the first Jump episode of Raising Kanan that Marvin never passes up an opportunity. Given that Stefano and the mob are shooting at him, I believe Rock will tell Marvin to leave the city because Queens is no longer a safe place for him. But I believe Marvin will make one last stop before he leaves town. And since the trailer shows Marvin in someone's house that appears to have been unclean for months and has clutter all over it, this might be his last error. Marvin is shown in the trailer kicking in a door of the house. But I believe Marvin will make one last stop before he leaves town. And since the trailer shows Marvin in someone's house that appears to have been unclean for months and has clutter all over it, this might be his last error. Marvin is shown in the trailer kicking in a door of the house. For more videos, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel.